Hey everyone, it's Laura, and today's video is going to be a new mom tag. I was tagged by Abby, and I will link her channel below. She has a little boy named Taryn, and she does videos about vlogging their life as new parents. And she also did baby-led weaning. So if you are interested in baby-led weaning, be sure to check out her channel because she does have some videos on that. So she tagged me. So I pulled up and took a screenshot of the original one. I think her name is Emily Norris. It's not in here. So there are 15 questions for new moms. So let's get started. And I am a new mom. She is 17 months old and I am 43 years old. We did our second round of IVF when I was 40, and now we have our beautiful little girl, Landon, who is currently napping in her floor bed. All right, number one, your favorite mom hack. So I'm gonna give you two because they're small. So the first one is pockets. If you are a new mom, you will not have a lot of hands free because your little baby is gonna wanna be held and go with you everywhere. So get pants. They have yoga pants, workout pants with like mesh pockets. So pockets, sweatpants, loungewear, PJs, you need pockets. The second mom hack is to get an Apple Watch. I got this for Christmas last year, so Landon was like 6 months old, and I wish I had gotten it earlier. You can, just park your phone somewhere in the house and you're constantly running around. And I was going up and down the steps and walking so much. I think you'll be surprised how much you're actually walking. And then the other nice thing is you're not on your phone as much, so you're present with your child and you can answer phone calls. My husband calls on his way home from work. I'll be cooking dinner, changing her diaper, all that stuff, and I'm kind of hands-free talking to him. So those are my two new mom hacks. I'm sure I have a ton of them, but those are the first ones that came to mind. Number two is your most embarrassing mom moment. I can't think of one. I'll see if I can think of one. Number three, what part of the day do you love the most? Okay, I think the part of the day I love the most is when she goes down for her nap. She's 17 months, so she's on one nap a day. And when we go down for her nap, we have all the time in the world. I go up early and we read books and we sing, and I just take my time and really eat up her snuggles because she's not the biggest snuggler. What part of the day do you love the least? Probably equally 2 times of the day. So in the morning before she comes down, it's when I unload the dishwasher, get her sippy cups ready, feed the cats, get the coffee ready, try to get as much out of the dishwasher as possible, move the cat bowls over into the mudroom. So I'm just real frantic to try to get as much done as possible before she comes down, because I try to make sure her meals are enjoyable and relaxed and a fun atmosphere. And then getting dinner ready because my husband doesn't get home till 6:30, so just timing out he gets home at 6:30 and she goes to bed between 7 and 8, so it's just a lot to get done. So it's like, do I feed her before he comes home, and does he need to give her a bath, and when does she need to go to bed, and he needs to spend time with her. So I think just those 2 frantic times of the day are my least favorite, but they're not terrible. The worst thing someone said to you when you were pregnant. I don't think anyone said anything bad to me when I was pregnant. I don't remember anyone saying anything bad to me. Number 6, the baby name you didn't agree on. Oh, I liked Morgan and he didn't like it. But I wasn't like hardcore. I think Landon was always my number 1. Or Josie, which is her middle name. Number 7, do you co-sleep? We do not co-sleep. We did kind of co-sleep, so we had the Halo bassinet, and that came over my bed, so she was right there, and she would stick her little face up against the netting in the bassinet. So she was in our room for 6 months, and that was as close as I would get to co-sleeping. I was way too nervous to co-sleep with her. There were mornings where I would lay her on my chest after breastfeeding at like 5 or 6 a.m. And then my husband would go to work and she would just be so snuggly and happy. And then I would fall asleep with her on my chest. And even though the bassinet was right there, I would wake up and she hadn't moved, but I would panic. So I wouldn't be able to handle co-sleeping. But no, I've never co-sleeped. At 6 months, she went to her bed or her crib in her own room, and I've never had to sleep in there with her or anything. She was always a great sleeper. Number 8, something you bought but never used. I cannot think of anything. I feel like I researched things really well, so I didn't buy anything that we weren't gonna use. And I didn't even want a baby shower just because I don't like clutter and a lot of stuff. So I was very particular about the things we were gonna get. Number 9, 3 hospital bag must-haves. A 6-foot long iPhone charger for sure. I got it in rose gold. That cozy sweater, I took like a cozy kind of open sweater that I loved. I was gonna take a robe, but I took that instead. 3rd must-have. Let me pull up my hospital bag video because I think all the links are below. Oh, the postpartum underwear. That would be my 3rd. Number 10, are you a routine mom or a go with the flow mom? And what does bedtime look like? I am definitely a routine mom. That way when we do have to go with the flow, it's not very often and she does well and handles it well. So I love routines, and she's always been on a pretty good routine, and I'm a stay-at-home mom of one, so that's pretty easy to do. Bedtime is, we have the same routine. It's changed now because we moved her out of her crib into her floor bed. So it's been a little bit difficult for my husband and I actually to change that up because we had to baby proof the room, and we took her chair out, her rocking chair. So we both, it's only been a week, so we both really miss rocking her at night and reading books. But now we sit on the floor or on her bed and read books. So the routine is to say night-night to kitties, brush our teeth, wash our face, change into our PJs, change our diaper, have a little time on the floor, and then she'll read books on her own. Then we read books, then we sing night-night, then we turn off the lights, we turn on the wind tunnel, we sing we sing Baba Black Sheep, Twinkle Twinkle, ABCs. We give the stuffed animals night-night kisses, and then give her night-night kisses and scene. Oh God, this could take like an hour. Number 11, what type of labor did you have? What pain relief did you choose? Oh, they spell labor differently over there. L-A-B-O-U-R. Okay, so I don't think I've ever really talked about my like labor and delivery. I did do a video on it, but I mean, a lot of what happened is not in there. I think I don't know. I don't know if I've shared all of it, but so I had a very long labor, 36 hours. My husband and I had hardly any sleep, and the first epidural did not work, and then they tried to move it, and then it worked on one side, and I was, I think I was dilated to 9, what is it, centimeters or something, and I was feeling the contractions in one side, and oh my God, it was awful. So the first epidural, he tried to move to a different spot, and the guy was not very nice. He was like blaming me almost, but I warned them, both of my sisters, it didn't work on them, the epidural. So he went in to do a second epidural, and I was in so much pain. My contractions were so hard. Like I was like, how am I supposed to sit still? And he's like, you just have to do it. So we finally did that one, and it finally worked, but there was a long period of time, and they were like increasing the medicine where I felt everything on the one side. So thank God for epidurals. And then I think we got just like 30 minutes of sleep, and then we started pushing, I think it was like 7 or 8 in the morning, and I was so excited, and I was like, what if I'm like that person who just like pushes, like 3 pushes and the baby comes out? 5.5 hours of pushing. It was unbelievable. And something I don't think I've talked about before, but I think it was Michael and Alex she got a busted eye blood vessel from pushing. I think it was her. I watched a lot of labor and delivery videos right before. So I was trying not to push from up here. So I was kind of pushing from like my chest area, and I like scratched up my throat so hard. In a million years, I hadn't heard anyone doing this, and I would never thought that you could have done that, but I was like pushing like this, and my throat, it was the worst. And they're not supposed to have liquids, but the nurse was like, give her liquid. So my husband, who's 6'5" with these huge hands, and they had these tiny little kids juice boxes. So they were like the real tiny ones with the tiny straws. And all I remember, and I remember a lot, but one of the prominent things I remember in that 5.5 hours of pushing was my husband coming in with the juice box and holding the little straw, and it was so little in his hands. Because in between like pushing, I couldn't even talk because my throat hurt so bad. So I would like go like this and give him a nod, and he would come in with the juice box. And I think it was pear juice or something. And I had gestational diabetes, so it was like sugar, I loved it. It felt so good on my throat. So something else about my labor and delivery was that I had this older labor and delivery nurse, and she was like a know-it-all, and she, like, I would tell her not to do something, but she would do it anyways. And she's like, you'll like it. So, and then there was this younger girl training, but she was a labor and delivery nurse in another hospital, and she just wanted to pick up like part-time shifts at this hospital. So she had to do training, but she felt like she didn't really need any. So the dynamic and the back and forth of those two was really funny. And it was like they both knew what they were doing and they weren't getting along. And I feel like any other situation would have bothered me. But for some reason, that 5.5 hours of pushing, I just kind of found it amusing. I don't know why. Number 12, have you ever been mum shamed? I feel like I definitely got a lot of unsolicited advice. I feel like I chose a lot of alternative ways to raise Landon. So between baby-led weaning and Montessori and like never doing a cry it out method for sleep training, really not doing any sleep training at all. I feel like I definitely had people who were kind of like leery in my life about, and then like I got a few where I would like push back, just like, well, I'm doing this because, and they were like, well, my kids turned out okay. So that's probably the closest I've ever been to mom shaming. I'm sure like in the baby-led weaning video, that was like Landon's first week of baby-led weaning, there's a ton of comments in there. Some of them I had to delete. There were a lot with the F-bombs. People are not happy about baby-led weaning. Number 13, the biggest challenges you face since becoming a mom. So the biggest challenge for me was her newborn stage. I didn't realize how little you can get done as a mom of a newborn and just a mom in general. They need a lot of attention. You need to really watch them. They need a lot of interaction. They need a lot of your attention. So that's something I didn't realize. And in the newborn stage, I wish I would have handled it differently. I mean, my husband, I thought I could like be a real estate agent without any help, like any childcare help. Cannot do that. I can barely keep up with the house and her as one person. I feel like the biggest issue that people can have in a marriage and a relationship that's toxic is resentment. And for the first time in our relationship, during that newborn stage, I had a lot of resentment towards my husband, and I would keep quiet and be like, you know, he's working hard, blah, blah, blah. And then I would just blow up on him. And we rarely fought before we had Landon. And we don't really fight now, but there's been a couple where just resentment builds up because he's not doing enough in my eyes, which I'm probably too hard on him as well. But it hasn't been horrible, but there's definitely been some resentment issues, and that we've worked through, and then also just not being able to get anything done and letting go of that, and knowing, I feel like Montessori's helped me with this too. Just knowing that the small things in your daily life, she's learning, she's observing, and you're modeling for her, and that is parenting work. So slow down, be present in the moment, and she's learning through watching and your daily routine. And you know, the dishes can wait, the laundry can wait. It's all, you're gonna get to it eventually, so don't stress. So that, I think, was surprising as a new mom. 14, the best bit advice you've ever been given. Biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new mom. Don't compare. I don't know what don't compare means. Jordan Peterson, I think he's a psychologist. Don't do anything for your children that they can do on their own. And that stuck with me in such a deep way, just like that one little quote. And so it was something I always constantly thought of raising Landon. So when I found out about baby-led weaning, I was like, oh, yes. They can independently feed themselves and have a better relationship with food. So that would be my best advice to new moms. Research baby-led weaning and do as much of it as you can, because I feel like that was the best thing I could have done, because Landon is very determined, and I would hate to think about it sounds so bad, but she would probably be such a different child if I had not found baby-led weaning and heard this advice, because she's so strong-willed, and so am I, and both of us like our way. So I think we would have butt heads a lot more, but I give her so much independence, and she has thrived in it. And then the other thing he said was, don't let your kids do things that annoy you, or something like that. And I thought that was kind of fun too. In that same vein of, if the kids can do it, let them do it. When I found Montessori at, I think she was 15 months old, I was like, yes, yes. Like, this is what we should do. And I've been completely obsessed with it since I found it, because it is about following the child. And if you're a new mom, look into floor beds for infants. I just set her up at 17 months, but I wish I'd known about floor beds when she was like 4 to 6 months old. Giving these little children independence as much as you can, baby-proofing homes, having yes spaces, having decluttered spaces so they can really explore. Yeah, that's kind of my best advice, is give them independence and routine as much as possible. Number 15, who's your mom crush and who do you tag? I think probably Alex. I like Alex from Alex and Michael. They have Julian, who's 2 months older. She puts out incredible videos. She's very professional about it, and she's a new mom, and it's always fun to follow someone who is like a first-time mom and who has someone a couple months older than your child, or even like a year, so you know kind of what's coming. Oh, for Montessori, the hidden gem, Oscar. I love her for inspiration for Montessori at home, for sure. So I would say those are my two mom crushes. All right, who do you tag? Candace. She did IVF and ERA test, and she has a little girl named Victory, and she's a first-time mom. So I will tag her. Hopefully she sees this. And then Holly, I think she goes by Holly Homebody now. We both did IVF, and I'm pretty sure like our babies were born a day apart. So I tag those two to do a new mom tag. So I will put a link down below to all the mom channels, I almost said mom channels that I talked about, and any other videos that I talked about as well. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.